Welcome to Giving You More Than Numbers, CASS's business support podcast, your go-to resource for practical business advice and expert insights.
So we've spoken about understanding our cash position, and we've spoken about how we can really make Xero and cloud-based technology give us those greater insights and help us speed up invoicing. But actually, none of that really gets to the crux of how can I get paid quicker? What tools can I use? And how efficient is that going to make us moving forwards? So let's start then at the very beginning. How can we reduce late payments? How can we reduce them? Whichever of you want to go, how can we reduce them? I really don't mind, because otherwise I'm going to be talking for the whole of this podcast.
I'll go first. Okay. So we use a term a lot internally called frictionless finance, and we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get paid. So we're trying to create as many different options that our users can use to get paid. Because we know everybody's different. Some people are out and about. Some people are sat behind a desk. Some people are invoicing in advance. It's just, they're all very, very different. So what we try and do is just accommodate everybody.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. So when we produce a report every year called XSBI, so Xero Small Business Insights.
Really a great read.
It's a great read. Yeah. Definitely download it on our website. But we produce this every year. Last year, we had some interesting facts around late payments. And we did this big report all about payments, obviously. And research suggests that if a small business is not using a digital cloud platform like Xero or any other, on average...
No, let's stick to Xero, Paul. Let's stick to Xero.
If a small business is not using a digital platform like Xero, typically it's about 54 days getting paid. Okay?
Yep.
That was on average. If a small to medium-sized business is using Xero, but without payments, digital payments, they get paid on average to 24 days. So if you've got a 30-day term...
50% reduction.
50% reduction. If, however, someone is using Xero with a payment provider, they get paid on average 10 days. It was shocking to hear that, and that's something I tell everybody, and I hugely advocate using payment services to get paid quicker. Some people are worried about the fees associated with it, but if you offset the minimal fee versus the potential of being getting paid late,
getting the money in,
is far more important than waiting, crossing your fingers for it to come in by itself. So that's a bit about the research that we've done. But what we've now tried to do within Xero, or what we have achieved, is as a bare minimum, if you're invoicing through Xero, we've had a feature for years, and it just allows you to put a pay now button on the invoice that you send out. It's a digital invoice that gets sent out, and that pay now button is the most prominent part. Big,
bright
massive green button, pay now.
And it works.
It does. It does. Works. If you think about you receiving that, and you just want one less piece of admin on your desk, 9 out of 10 times you're going to click it and get rid of it.
Yeah.
Sorted. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
Those envelopes are yet to open with all the bills are probably going to get put to one side. So as a bare minimum, pay now button is something we always say that should use. We've now started to expand that now. So we understand there's different scenarios where you might want to get paid. So where that might not be possible or time's an issue, we now create something called payment links. So if a tradesperson is stood in front of their client, they just quoted for a landscape gardening, and they haven't got time to populate a huge invoice, they could just quickly send over a payment link to that client, sat right in front of them. They will receive a prompt, pay here, pay now, they will pay the bill, and then in the background an invoice gets automatically generated.
And emailed back to them, doesn't it?
And emailed directly to that customer. Even the 2 other ones that we've just recently launched are tap to pay.
That's massive.
So gone are the days now where you need a payment terminal or something on the desk. You can actually use your mobile phone to receive payments for work that you're doing. And again, you receive the payment and then the invoice is generated in the background.
And how simple is the tap to pay to use?
It's incredibly easy to use, and it works across iOS and Android as well. But when you come to set up your payments within the Xero menus, there's a full step-by-step guide on how to set it up. The final one that has just been introduced is probably more of a industry trend that's becoming more popular with certain certain industries really is using Klarna. So actually you can set up Klarna through Xero as well, and customers have got the option to pay by Klarna. So we're trying to
and that is new off. That is pretty new. Pretty new. Fantastic.
Are there any restrictions on the industry sections that can use Klarna?
No, not at all. So my recommendation for anyone. So again, thanks for the prompt. Whenever anybody sets up Xero, we just recommend set up all your payment providers. So we set up to something like Stripe, Go Cardless, PayPal account, Klarna. Yeah. And then when you come to create an invoice, you can choose how to receive that payment.
Yeah. I think we've learned that the more payment options you give somebody, the more likely they're going to have one of those options. Because sometimes if you're billing out to a business, you may not have the credit cards, but the payment link or the ability to trigger the Klarna mail and who wouldn't want something like Klarna? Yes, there's a little bit of a fee, but again, I'm spreading from the purchase side, I'm spreading my cost a little bit.
Exactly.
I think whilst we're talking about actually how can I reduce late payments, I think it's really important to say, depending on the industry you work in and the industry you're supplying, don't be frightened to apply the Late Payments of Commercial Debts Act. Sounds very complex, but that allows you to levy a late payment charge and statutory interest as dictated by the government to ensure that you get compensated where you're being paid late. And the number of people that are scared to do that because they might lose a client, but ultimately it's costing you money. Yeah. Either in overdraft fees or borrowing charges because you've got to take a loan out or you can't pay your own credit card off. It makes sense to try and recover these. Yeah. If that's just a prompt that gets you paid, you then may choose to credit those charges again, but please don't be frightened to levy them because it's all about making sure we are receiving more than we're paying out. So I think you touched on a couple, Paul. Klarna, I think, is quite straightforward. Someone can spread the costs over a couple of months. Stripe / payment links, instant cards, payment.
True.
Go Cardless and other equivalents. Adfin is another one that comes to mind.
And Go Cardless allow you to spread it over a period now as well.
But I just wanted to talk about that direct debit piece. So if you can and do lots of work regularly for clients, try and encourage that direct debit piece because, again, it will collect the money on the due date. So even if you do give a client 30 days credit, on the 30th day, it's going to start the direct debit collection process. Yeah. So it just mitigates that late payment issue again.
I've got a great story just from today, hot off the press for that actually. So on my way down, I had an email last night about a boiler that I had fitted a year ago. The same company emailed me last night saying, we see you had it a year. We'd like to arrange a service or speak to you about some service plans that we've got. While I was in the car driving down today, I asked a question obviously, I actually found out they use Xero anyway, just for talking to them. While I was sat in the car, I managed to set up a direct debit, and so I'm only paying them £9 a month via Go Cardless. Yeah. I did it all while I was in the car, absolutely superb, and now I've got a service plan on my boiler.
Fantastic. And your supplier, so you as the customer, but them as the supplier are happy. They're getting the money regularly. Cool. No late payment fees.
And I've had all the emails through and confirmation already. And I didn't even have to log into my.
That's it. It is. I think the more payment options we have, the quicker we get paid, the quicker we improve our cash position.
But if you're a regular user of Go Cardless as well, and I'm asking this on a personal basis more than anything else, the platform isn't always that user-friendly for working out when these direct debits are going to be coming in. Okay. Is that something you're saying that Xero extracts from the system to put in a cash flow, or have I got to put an extra step in?
So it's all driven by due dates.
Yeah. Is it?
It's all driven by your due date. So the way that any payment tool, so your Klarna potentially, although we from a customer, the supplier perspective, will get the full payout, it's the customer that's paying over 3. On the Go Cardless piece, because it's driven by due date and plus you usually get payout 2 days after they've collected it, as long as within Analytics Plus, and we're getting a little bit technical here, as long as in Analytics Plus we connect the Go Cardless intermediary account that is included then in your balances.
Nice.
That's the key, is don't just connect on Analytics Plus, the only bank account you've got. Make sure that your credit card is connected. Make sure that your payment partner accounts, whether that's a Stripe, because those are cash that sit in your business that can be used for managing when that cash flow happens.
Right.
So yeah, it's just about, again, that little bit of configuration to make it work. And I think just because it's come to mind, if you are going to use the Analytics Plus feature in Xero and want and know that you've got exceptional payments or receipts that are coming in, so if you've got a corporation tax payment, or you have some investment coming in, or you have sold a vehicle and you're getting that cash coming in, whilst Analytics Plus will look at what's happened in the last 3 months and then try and predict what's going to happen for the next 3 months, you can still go in and put in these one-off exceptional monies in, monies out, and that will naturally affect your cash flow position. And we use that immensely because we've got a flat guaranteed repeating income, which automatically pulls through. But when we get one-off jobs and one-off bits of work that come in, we want to factor that in because we know we'll be completed and we'll know we'll get paid, but the system's not predicting that until the point that you raise your invoice. And then if you've raised your invoice, you can go back into Analytics Plus and actually remove your manual entry. So it's your Excel spreadsheet, but in a live environment that is constantly updating.
It's a very hyper Excel spreadsheet.
It is.
Thanks for listening to Giving You More Than Numbers. Subscribe for more business insights from Team CASS.